How's it going, internet? I'm WavePunk, and I'm shooting this video a little bit later than I usually do, so we have some artificial lighting, which gives us nice shadow stuff on the back wall. Yes, that's supposed to be a bird. But so eSports Thursdays. Today might be a little bit rambly, kind of like last week. I want to talk about getting into esports, getting into show business in general. People have been asking me a lot, like, what did you do to get into RLCS, and how did that happen, and oh, I really want to get there too, and like lots and lots of people have been bringing this up to me, and I know that it's a decent question, and so I want to take the time to talk about how did I get here, and what points did I learn, what things did I learn from my process of getting there that you can apply to your process of trying to get into show business or esports, or really into anything that you have as a long-term goal. The first big thing for me is just that it's going to take time. People look at me, and a lot of times they think my story with esports starts with the first time I casted a tournament, which was a Ghost Boosters tournament, and then I casted Gfinity with RLC, and then I casted Rocket Royale, and I was like, and it just very, very quickly went up, and then I was at RLCS, like, just a few months later. And the thing is, people can very easily look at that and say, like, oh, well, he got up in 3 months. He did it so quickly. It's a quick rise to fame. I'm going to try and do that. What you'd miss, though, is that I've been on stages since I was like 13. I've been doing, whether it's choir or performing in bands at church or talking in front of my Boy Scout troop on a weekly basis, giving announcements and kind of being like, all right, I have this load of information. I need to compress it down to under 5 minutes and get very good at just talking in front of a crowd and having a little bit of stage presence, you know, and then going and working at a stage, working as a stagehand for 4 years, working as a stage manager for 2 years, doing all sorts of lighting and production stuff, and watching hundreds of shows, getting to interact with people like Bob Schieffer, a great journalist who you see all over places like CNN. Being around those sorts of people as a full-time gig and getting to analyze what they do, and then being a musician on the side and doing that as kind of a secondary job and getting to perform in bars and in clubs and going and mixing live sound for my friend's band and stuff like that has given me lots of time to be around show business and just know what it takes to be in show business, to know what it takes to sit in front of a camera and to look at the camera and not look terrible, and to sound good, and to project your voice, and to articulate, and to do these things that are required for casting. And so while, yes, I hadn't casted Rocket League until 4 months before the RLCS, I had been doing things related to casting, related to show business, and related to being on stage for so many years that the transition was very easy. There was so many skills I had learned that had equipped me and prepared me to get good at casting Rocket League very quickly. And so if you have a background in economics or science or history or something that's not a performance art, it's going to be a harder transition for you than it was for me, and that's okay. Go for it. I'm not in any way trying to discourage you, but just know that this isn't something I just randomly did a 180 on and decided, oh, I want to do this because it'll be fun, and 4 months later, I was really, really good at it. The second big point, and this is all of show business, and this is all of kind of big breaks in life, you have to be at the right place at the right time and be the best you can be while you're there. Had I started casting Rocket League even probably a month later, I would not be here today. The fact that I started casting when I did, had I casted any later than that, there was a whole bunch of people that kind of showed up right behind me who did not get the opportunities I got because there were people like me already in the shoes. And the problem with the whole right place, right time thing is there's a lot of luck involved. I had no idea that had I casted Rocket League a month later, I wouldn't have gotten in. I just started doing it and I lucked out. I happened to be right where I needed to be, and by the time they started looking for the people they needed, I was good enough. I was at a point where I was marketable to those people. And the thing about showbiz is it can be very cutthroat, and it can be very much what's good for the show, not what's good for you as a person. They care about putting on a great show, and if you're not what's good for the show, then you're gonna get passed up. You can be in the right place and the right time, but not be prepared and lose the opportunity. That's a really rough situation, and the only thing you can do is just try to be the best thing you can be at all times, which I know sounds exhausting, but that's all you can do. Just be the best thing you can be at all times and be in as many places as you can to increase your chances of being in the right place and the right time. And the third big point I want to make, and this is very, very central to a lot of the conversations I've had with people who are wanting to get into RLCS, is you need to have a broad goal. I have been trying to get into esports, trying to find an avenue to get into esports for like 4 years. Ever since I went to MLG Dallas 2012, saw the production, saw what was happening, and just knew this is something I want to be involved in. This is amazing. And if you had told me that my break in esports was going to come with Rocket Car Soccer back in 2012 when all I cared about was first-person shooters, I would have told you were crazy. That can't possibly be a thing. That doesn't even sound like the type of game I'd want to play at the time, you know? I was not into sports games at all. I was very interested in first-person shooters, and to be completely honest, I still really am. I would love an opportunity to be involved in the first-person shooting scene in any way, shape, or form. But the thing I was passionate about was just competitive video games on an athletic sports level. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And if I could get involved as a competitor, if I could get involved as a broadcaster, if I could get involved as backline production, in any of those things would have been appealing to me for any game on any large scale. That was my goal. My goal was to be involved in esports. In any way, shape, or form. I had lots of background in doing film production. I had background in doing lighting. I had background in stage, and I knew how to do all those things. I had background playing video games, and maybe there would come a game that I would get good enough at that I could actually be a competitor at, and that would, of course, be awesome. But I never really thought that I'd actually get there. And then, yeah, being a caster would be really cool, too, but, like, I didn't really know how to get involved at the time, and so I wasn't sure, and especially with first-person shooters where there was this old guard, you know, I didn't know how to crack into there. So my goal was just to be in esports. However, and I hear a lot of people putting themselves into very specific boxes where they want to be in Season 3 of RLCS. They want to be on the broadcasting team. They want to be a shoutcaster for Season 3 of RLCS or something like that. And the thing is, that is such a specific goal that it's going to be so easy for you to be disappointed when it doesn't happen. You know, and just for an example, just to make this easier, let's say your goal is to be the 5 o'clock news anchor for Fox 4 News in Fort Worth, Texas, okay? The problem with that goal is, A, there is already a 5 o'clock news anchor for Fox 4 News in Dallas. And if he dies or retires, then there's an opening for that position, but you don't know when that's going to happen. And when it does happen, they're probably going to bump up the 1 o'clock news anchor and give him the 5 o'clock slot because he's been there a long time. So now he's got the 5 o'clock slot, and maybe they'll give the intern who's been there with the company for a while the 1 o'clock slot and give them an opportunity, and then you can have the internship because there's an opportunity there, and you can interview with everybody else who's wanting that internship. And then after that cycle completes a couple times, maybe then you finally get that 5 o'clock news slot in Fort Worth or in Dallas that you want. And that goal is great, but it's just so highly specific. There's a decent chance it would never happen in the first place. What if you don't get the internship? What if they don't like you after you get the internship? What if the 5 o'clock news anchor just never dies? You know, like within your span of working, you know, and then you lose interest or something like that. And it's just, I'd be sad to have a goal that specific because it's so easy for it to get shot down. Whereas if your goal is, I want to do news, I want to be a news anchor somewhere. Okay, well, there's hundreds of news outlets all over America, and you could probably, as long as you're willing to move to wherever the opportunities are, find an opportunity and be able to fulfill that expectation. And so, like I said, my goal was to just be in esports. And RLCS is the way it happened to work out. It wasn't the way I ever originally envisioned it to work out, but because I left myself open to so many options and didn't put myself into this little box of exactly what I want, I got to have so many more different chances, and finally one works out with this game called Rocket League, and I couldn't be more content with how it finally kind of settled. And so if you are interested in being an RLCS caster, that's an awesome goal. But I would encourage you, A, just love Rocket League, just love esports, and be open to any possibility that comes along, because there's a decent chance if you do get a break in esports, it's not going to be the one you think you're about to get. Anyways, this has been a Rambly video, and it's probably way too long already, and but yeah, these are just some ideas I had that I kind of just wanted to put out there for anyone who cared to listen. That's usually you guys. So if you've got more ideas on things you want me to talk about, leave them in the comments below. There's a couple ideas that I haven't taken care of yet, but I'll get to when I can. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTuber stuff. See you guys later. Bye-bye.